And a very good evening to you all. How are you? I hope you're well. Welcome to another Jan's Views live stream where I will be joined by the man of the moment. He's like our little superstar, isn't he, guys? So he'll be joining us very soon. So when he gets his act together, yeah. Anyway, how are you guys? I hope you're all well. Have you had a good weekend? I have. I've had a fabulous weekend. I've been out and about, and yeah, just enjoying myself. Anyway, but now, of course, all the allergies start. Oh, somebody's arrived. Let's see who's arrived in the green room. But I am going to say hello to you all. But let's let him in because he gets very impatient, guys. He's a typical man. So here he is. Hey, Dunks. How you doing, sweetie?
I was actually here before you, Jan. So I don't know. I thought you were a little bit late getting here. I'm in good form, obviously, because I'm back. It looks like I am back on YouTube. I don't know how long this will last, but yeah, we might get into some of the details of this. But the most bizarre week. I mean, I don't know anyone else that's ever got an announcement from YouTube saying we're offering you a restored or a new channel. It was just so weird, but here we are. So yeah, it's been good news, huh?
It's been amazing news. I'm telling you, my computer hates me, Dunks. Every time I click on something, it does the other thing, and then I'm like, go on, do it. So, yeah, it could be all over the place today. Nothing new there, guys. Anyway, but the most important thing is that we sit tight. We all have to sit tight. So I'm going to say a quick hello, firstly, to my mods. Lovely to see you all in here. Claire, always making me laugh. And we've got Red Sauce in the house. Lovely to see you. We've also got, who've we got? Who've we got? Oh, hang on, let me go down a bit further. Pinky! We've got Pinky Pup in the house. Hey, I hope you're well. We've got Neil. Hey, Neil. I hope you're well. Oh, is it Neil or Nelly? Nelly.
Nelly.
Nelly. Hey, Nelly. How you doing, girl? We've got Amanda in the house. Listen, we've got a super busy week, guys. I will try and call you out when I see your names. I'll say hi. Hey, Lisa. Hope you're doing well as well. We've got Trudy. We've got a first timer called Keza. Hey, Keza. Welcome. You're very welcome here. We're a very friendly bunch. So, we've got so much to talk about, and I think one of the first things we should go over, Dunks, is actually our question number one, which is how and why did YouTube randomly hand Duncan back an account from 2024? It's weird. I don't know, Dunks. I mean, it's a good thing. It is a good thing, but I don't know. I mean, I've been on YouTube for years, donkey's years, and I haven't got an answer for you really. But just take it, honey. If they, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That's what they say. So, what is your take on it, Dunks?
Yeah, this is a very, very difficult one to figure out. And I think it is worth taking just a few minutes to walk people through what has happened because the people I have spoken to that have been on YouTube and gone through this sort of thing, they have no explanation. Um, so this is not this channel that is called Duncan Smith is not the one that got removed because the Daily Mirror intervened on Debbie's behalf and removed the channel. It's not that channel. That is still under appeal. So that still might come through. And that's bizarre in itself because the notice says usually takes 2 working days for your appeal to be yes or no. And I'm now entering month 2. So obviously the YouTube robot that's handling the appeal is just really confused. It can't figure out what the hell is going on. And I think what triggered one of my very old accounts to be restored was that I don't know, I think it was the handwritten note that I sent, dear Google headquarters Dublin, that thing that I sent in saying, I've read the guidelines, I still don't understand. I don't think they've probably ever received at Google, a handwritten note, and a human obviously had to read it, I guess. Maybe they do have a bot in Dublin that reads the handwritten note, but I think a human read it. Um, and I'm just now guessing. I'm just now guessing, Jan. I'm thinking the human thought, well, we won't just, give him back what was taken. Let's go back to the first channel. And there is a proviso there that says, your channel might be restored or you might be eligible for a new channel. I think it's one of those where your channel got removed, but it's like a slap on the wrist. After 6 months, maybe they'll give it you back. And I was like, well, oh, okay, I don't really care. Um, and what was different from what happens normally? Normally, when you set up a YouTube channel, I think everyone's gone through this. You have to have a YouTube account. You have the account first. You have to have the Gmail address, I believe. The Gmail address gets sent a code to your phone, so you have to submit a phone number, and then your channel is up and running. There was none of that this time. This is why it's like a channel restored, because when they let me just get going on the old channel, all of my content was gone. Obviously, that was removed. But when I looked under my subscriptions and the old videos that were there, it was stuff I was watching, 2 years ago. It was from 24. So I don't know what this is all about. But what amused me was Smelliot, Gobshite up in Glasgow. She jumped on it and said, Duncan's lying, Duncan's lying. It's not a restored account, it's a new one. And I was like, oh, for Christ's sake, even before I've had a chance to walk people through this, you're getting the damn accident group saying he's lying. And I'm like, well, it's a new account in that it's new out there. This Duncan Smith, whatever it is, hasn't been out there before. But I can assure you, I didn't set anything up. YouTube said you can have this as a new account. You know what I mean? And when you go in there, you think, well, yeah, this is my old account, but they've just taken all the videos away. So I don't know what's going on. It's really weird. The one thing I'm very cautious about is that I do think, I don't know how to put this. I think if you're someone like Debbie Duncan and you go to a powerful media group like The Mirror and you just say, I'm very upset and I'm grieving and this person's being hateful to me, I do think in the UK that is grounds for removal. I think it could happen again. But at least we now know that it's not terminal. If you write a handwritten note to the right person in Dublin, they might just restore it. So I don't know. This is frustrating, but we got to take it as a victory. Otherwise, yeah, you'd be depressed by the whole thing. So let's see what happens. I'm back, and it is Duncan Smith, but who knows? Who knows what's going on in YouTube world that allows this to happen? I just don't know.
Yeah, it's weird, and it's one of the problems I think that come with this world of robots, because it seems almost impossible to actually speak to an actual human being. I've done it. I'm in the process of doing it at the moment. And, as far as YouTube, I mean, God, you might as well just go and talk to the tree in the garden. And the thing is, even though they have this live chat, I mean, I remember a few years back when they first started bringing out this live chat thing on different accounts, because on different platforms, because, like, I've got online stores and sometimes you need to speak to somebody. And more often than not, I feel that you did speak to a human being. But even these live chats, there's still AI. And, underneath it says to you, oh, well, the answers you're given may not be true because, YouTube can't guarantee the answers. It's like, well, what the hell am I doing then? What's the point? I remember back in the day, Dunks, you used to be able to phone people and speak to people, but you can't do that now. The robots have taken that away from us, and it's infuriating, but there are ways around it. And someone like me, I'm an old bint. I know my way around the computer,
Mhm.
and eventually I will get someone to speak to. So let's just see. We've got somebody said we've got some newbies in the chat. That's nice. So Nancy Sue, hey, nice to see you. So Nancy has made a very, very valid point. It's funny how the slugster control people but still has his channel. It's absurd. When you look, and the thing is, people like him people like him are the consummate victims. They're always looking for something to get you in trouble for. It's a bit like the kids at school. There was always that little brat who used to go round telling tales, to the teacher. Oh, teacher, did you know that she said this and she did this? And they get heard because they are so persistent. They're like the wasp at the picnic, that you want to swipe away, but they'll always find a way in. That is the slugster, but it won't last forever, guys. I assure you, it will not last forever. And the sooner or the more of us that speak up about this, YouTube has got to take note. I mean, we are we're very small fish in a massive pool at the moment. So we need to sort of be heard, especially when these people are doing things that contravene the policies, the terms of service that YouTube have. These people are doing it all the time and getting away with it. But don't worry, don't worry about it. It'll be sorted. What say you, Dunks?
Yeah, I think someone like Sluggy has mastered the art of speaking gobbledygook to the point where we get a vague idea of what he's saying. We know it's offensive. We know it's nasty and it's trolling and all the rest of it. We know that. And yet the YouTube robot, when it scans through Luggy's writing, is so confused it can't work out whether it's breaking any rules. Do you know what I mean? I think in that sense, Luggy is a very good writer. Um, I wish I could do it, actually. I wish I could write to the point where people got enough information to be offended, but not enough to piss off the robot. So, I mean, hats off to the guy. But yeah, I think he will come unstuck. And yeah, we just march on to that day. But I don't know what you think, Jen. I'm not big on reporting this stuff. It takes a while. You've got to have some time in the day to actually, report someone. I have, but I think their side is obsessed with it. I think they spend, most of their waking hours reporting on what we've said. And I don't think we do it as much the other way round. I might be wrong, but, I think they love doing it, and we do it every now and then out of necessity. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think they have way too much time on their hands. I think most of them are jobless. So they don't have to go out and work, and they just have too much time. I'm sure out of the, what, say 10 of them, there are at least one or two that spend their whole time online. They miss nothing, Dunks. They miss nothing. I say, it doesn't matter whose channel it's on. There they be pouncing on my comment. And, it's the same with you. And it's like a bloody wasp. Do you know what I mean? It's like, for God's sake, how did you know I was going to have this cheese sandwich out here? Just bog off, will you? And they're just like that. Wherever I go, it's like, I don't know how they do it, but yeah. Well, it's a bit sad that seems to be their life. I couldn't have a life like that, could you, Dunks?
No, I have to laugh at it because they, like you say, they react within seconds. And when this restored channel was handed back to me, I decided I wouldn't do anything like put a video up. I'd go straight to one of their channels, Luggage, and start commenting just to see the reaction. So I started typing away under, Luggy's comments. Of course, I've been banned, but he didn't know I had a new channel on. So I started writing. And that Pope Chris guy started immediately. He was like, who's this creep? With a, little finger pointing up to my comment. And I was like, well, guess who? If you read the name, Duncan Smith, it might give you a clue, matey. And then the panic set in. It's like, oh my God, it's him. But yeah, they seem to have a lot of time to react very quickly. They're like, a little army, like you said, a little kind of army of ants or wasps. And once one is called out into action, they all follow, and here they come.
It's actually insane. It's insane. I've never known anything like it. I can go in, it's like even with Sonia Poulton, I mean, Jesus, how quick were they there? They'd taken their seats, front seat, front row, to make sure that they were going to spit all their venom at us. And Sonia, she's like, I'm not having none of this. Just shut up. I'm not listening. And then also with the this morning video, oh my God, they swarmed it like bees round a honey pot. They were busted. It's insane to me. But anyway, let's not take the whole time talking about those losers. I really can't be asked. Anyway, hey Annette. Nice to see you, darling. I'm trying to click up people. Hey Simon. Never apologise, darling. Nice to see you. Right, so shall we move on to question number 2? We're all over the place, guys. Hang on a minute. I want to read some of the things you're saying because it is very relevant. And I don't want you to think that we're ignoring you because we certainly aren't. Right, where are we? So DJ, how you doing? Hun? I see you've been getting a taste of the, how can we put it, the vermin
Yeah.
fruit. I mean, God's sake. I'm sorry about that. So DJ says, saw that Jane was talking about removing access to grandkids for tragedy trolling. Do you know what? That woman, she needs to get herself a life. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is. Is it jealousy? Is it jealousy? Because she can see that I'm a very fulfilled woman and not just filled with food, as they're trying to say. Do you know what I mean? I've always loved taking pictures of food, always done it for years. If you look back at the beginning of my channel, always took pictures of food, used to do short videos, blah, blah, blah. But that's something that they've sort of bounced onto. Oh, that must mean that she's like 28 stone. All she does is eat. Just have to laugh about it, Doug's. It's so juvenile. And so, as DJ says, she's now talking, she puts up these threatening subliminal messages. They're not really subliminal. And it's like, oh, some grandmas can lose access to their kids, to their grandkids. Really? Really? Well, I'm telling you, Elliot Schmeliot, some mothers lose access to their children, and there's no way in hell that I would lose access either to any of my children or my grandchildren. Not only because they adore me and I them, but because I've done nothing wrong. What are you going to do? You're going to show this video in court and say, look, Jan said this. Just get a life. It's not my fault we live in Scotland. Anyway, moving on. I don't make myself laugh. Oh, we've got Tulip Amsterdam. Hey! I'm not sure they realise how hilarious they are. Do you know what? They don't. But I tell you what, me and Dunks, we roar, don't we, Dunks? We roar at the stupidity of it. And I want to say, and I'm going to give Dunks the opportunity to also say, I want to thank you so much for giving Dunks your channel to, put his word out there. So I think you did a fine job. Thank you. And I'm going to pass you over to Dunks now.
Yeah, there's a lot of thanks, and this is a great opportunity to do this because, I've mentioned it to a few individuals and I might have put a post out there or a few comments, but I haven't had a chance to kind of go through how everyone pulled together on this. The truth is, and I didn't realize this, that YouTube and, the YouTube comment section and all that is something that so many people are just used to and they like that if you don't have a YouTube channel, it isn't so easy for them to, magically transfer to some other platform. So, everyone that's out there that did that, some, they don't like TikTok, they found their way over to TikTok. Big thanks to all of them. Big thanks to, the tech guys with the justiceforj.com site that enhanced that. And that, of course, is still going to be there. I'm just going to use that for forums and for some posts because it's just easier to post some stuff on there. The YouTube posting system isn't that good. But above anything else, justiceforj.com is this amazing backup that, if tomorrow Duncan Smith is gone again, we've still got all of those safety nets there to make sure that the message gets out there. But yeah, big thanks to everyone that came over to TikTok. Big thanks to everyone that waited patiently on YouTube. Big thanks to everyone that went to justiceforj.com. Massive thanks to, and wasn't just Tulip Amsterdam and On the Go. They were the two big ones because they hosted every video. But initially, Scoob's got it rolling. Jay Smith as well. Marvin at Streamline Entertainment, who's putting up the videos. So there was a whole, mini army of people that did whatever was necessary to keep the show going. And they will again. And what really heartened me, Jan, was that I think the other side, and I think Debbie and her army thought that once the Mirror had intervened, that was it. It would be a gradual reduction. TikTok would follow suit. And I think the moral of the story is that if you have enough people ready and willing to be flexible and work with you, the message gets out there. And I swear there are, we see some new names. There are a lot more people that I've seen on the TikTok account, and I think in the next week or so, if my channel stays up here, there'll be new names coming because all of this furore has drawn a few people in. So it's a good story in the end. I don't like. I mean, this is a statement of the obvious. I don't like any big institution intervening and removing anyone's account for any reason. I don't care what their views are. If YouTube sees there's no problem and the Mirror intervenes and then the channel's gone, that is awful. That is a really bad society to be in. But we have recovered from it and we will keep fighting, and I'm buoyed up by it. Actually, I'm ready to take this fight on. So yeah, big thanks to everyone for sticking with this, and it's going in our direction, I think.
100%. Yeah, we are. We're a little community, guys. And you know what's really funny? Well, it's ironic, really, is that the AG group are always going on about, oh, their leader Dunks, or their leader Jan, or their leader Wax. Listen, if we don't have that, we're not that type of people. We're all individual people and we have a common goal. I don't understand why they cannot comprehend that, Dunks. It's like, I'm not accountable to you. You're not accountable to Wax. I'm not accountable to Wax. It's like, what are you talking about? And the way that they talk to some of some of the people that come in the live chat, some of the people that take the time to watch our videos and take the time and care to, write something in the comment section. The way they attack those people and say, oh, well, your leader thinks this, or shut up. I mean, what are they? Are they in school? Stop it. We're too old for that. Me and you, Dunks, we're way past it, aren't we?
But
Hang
there's
on.
one thing here. There's one thing here, Jan, that I think I've picked up from Sluggy, that he's very concerned about, and that is how you and myself and Wax will obviously communicate behind the scenes. We have each other's email address, and we can talk to each other. I think that is. I don't know why. That's a big concern, and I've noticed Sluggy use this word collusion, although he misspells it with the Tion, and he doesn't get it because colluding is when you've got some great evil intent. Like we're three Bond figures in the background trying to figure out how to take over the world. So Lucky's going, "Oh, you're all colluding. You're all colluding." I'm like, well, it's just cooperation and collaboration. I don't want to put out something that Wax is working on, and Jan doesn't want to do something that I've already thought about. And it's not as if we all agree. I mean, I don't think it's any big secret. When Wax starts going on about the beach video, I'm like, oh my god, I can't even see anything on the beach. So we don't agree on everything, but it kind of puts Slugtard and his guys in a bit of panic when they realise, oh, they talk to each other. It's like, well, yeah, of course. I don't know. They're in a very strange world. It's not my world.
Absolutely. But I will say, when we do talk together, somebody is putting out the rumour that I talk too much. Someone's like, Jan, you talk too much. But I tell you what, it makes me laugh. Listen, I've always laughed at myself. Because if you can't laugh at yourself, how can you laugh at other people? Do you know what I mean? I don't take myself too seriously. But what I want to do is show, because Sharon has noticed my top. Okay, it's one of mine. Okay, yeah, I walk out like this. Look. Look, it's got me on it. Anyway, just thought I'd show you that. Do you want to buy the missus one of those dunks? I'll put her face all over it for you if you like. Anyway, let's move on. I'm being silly, so let's move on. Let's move on to number 2, shall we? Right. Now then, why would the Slugster vehemently defend Liar Lucy at this time? Why? Do you know, Duncan, you've spoken about it several times and you've sort of said, what is going on here? Is it an uncle, a niece? Is it like a huge gap relationship? What's going on? What's going on, Dunks? Let us know.
I don't know. First of all, let's observe what's going on before we try to explain it. Without a shadow of a doubt, if ever you start highlighting Lucy's lies, and they are lies, it's not that it's, disputable or anything. You just read the GoFundMe statement, and it's all Lucy's words, and it's lie after lie about, how she woke up and who called her in the early night, and the strangers that Jay met. It's all lies. And yet, if you just point out the obvious, and I raise the question, well, given her track record of lying, why would anyone believe her? Why would you believe the story about I called the emergency services 10 times, on the 6th time a helicopter was sent out? This makes no sense. It doesn't matter what Lucy says after she's, got that stream of lies on the GoFundMe. I don't understand how anyone would then believe her. You only have to point out this fact. I mean, this is all true, and raise a question. And Luggy is the first one to pile in there, and he's done this before. He's put out a post saying Smith accusing innocent young teenager, young girl or something. And it's like, okay, well, Brandon, he's a teenager, innocent young boy. Where's your beef about me saying, Brandon's bloody suspicious? It's just odd that you just have to say anything about Lucy. And like I say, it could be factual. We haven't got into that other police report where, Lucy says she signed off on a police report. It appears legitimate that she spent the night at the Airbnb with Jay. Now, we will present that factually. You'll see Sluggy will jump in there and go, this is an outrageous slander, and it's a bloody court document, you fool. I mean, why is he like this? Now, I don't know. I think there's something behind the scenes, but what it is exactly, I don't know. Now, Lucy's background is such that I can feel confident looking at, who the dad and who the mum is and how Lucy lives to say that there is a narco connection in those other generations. Logically, one might think that Luggy knows Lucy through, the mum, the dad, or even the grandparents. I don't know. But the way he reacts to anyone that speaks out against Lucy is the way a family member would react. Don't you look like that at my sister, or something like that. Or, heavens above, I mean, Luggy also has meltdowns at the thought of, any kind of relationship in that way. You only have to suggest it. It's like, well, that Mia person came on and said you'd known her for 5 years. It raises eyebrows, but then you think, well, Rach had Brad when Rach was, I don't know, mid-teen, young teen. I mean, Brad's only 20, 21 now. Rach is still in her 30s, I think. So I don't know. It's all very well saying, well, that can't be, but hey, it does happen. It does happen. Maybe there is a relationship there where Luggy is Mr. Protector and there's something more than just a family friend. I'll leave it like that, Jan. I think I've covered all the bases there, but there's absolutely no doubt about it. You only have to mention facts about Lucy and raise a question or two, and he feels he has to. It's almost like someone is pushing him to do it. I don't know. What do you think?
I've no idea, but I mean, I've
Mm.
got lots of girls in my family. I've got my daughters, two daughters, I've got three grandchildren, and the youngest one is, what is she, 14 now? And I think, if they would, I mean, I see some of their social media and I'm like, yeah, you're right there, love. Because that's how I talk to them. Because you know how they dress these days. Do you know what I mean? But then I'm their grandmother and they'll be like, oh, Nan, stop it. Or I'll say, you all right there? Did you forget to put on the rest of the outfit? Because we have a lot of humour running through our family. But I'm telling you, if there was a 60-year-old relative even who made sort of questionable comments about, the things they posed online, it wouldn't go down well. It really wouldn't go
Mm-hmm.
down well. And if, I don't know if you're aware, Dunks, obviously you haven't got any teens in your family, but I know that even though, some of the things they put on can be a bit sort of dodge, I'm telling you, even my two boys, who are their uncles, would never ever put anything like what he has put. What was it he said about that picture of Lucy?
It was something like looking good, gal, you bossing it, kissy kissy, luggy, or something like that. It was something that anyone normal, if they'd written that and then posted it and read it back to themselves, would think, "Oh my God, that sounds really bad. I'd better," you know what? So the astounding thing was, Luggy thought it, wrote it, posted it, looked at it, and thought, "Oh, that sounds fine." And everyone else like, "What the hell?"
I'm telling you, I'd have to have a word with one of my boys. And in fact, my girls would be like, what are you doing saying that underneath her picture? Yeah, it's just, you just don't do things like that. I don't know. Dunks, they just live in a different world to us. Let's see what the what the chat's saying. Right, okay, so we've got Jay Smith in the house. Hey, Jay Smith. And is that Alison? Hey, Alison, how are you, honey? So Alison has put, her mother had probably told Elle to make sure she doesn't get the blame or heads will roll. Yeah, I think it's probably something like that. There's something, but I think because the slugster, it's not who I would assume has got the most. Oh, how can I put this? He's not socially socially, his behaviour may be seen a bit sort of yuck to most people. I mean, I've seen I've seen pictures of him on the strip Do you know what I mean? With literally these young women walking along looking as if they've just stripped. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, why are you there? You're a 60-year-old dude, almost 60. Why are you in the company of these young girls? You just, no. There's just some things in my life that aren't socially acceptable. And I feel that the Slugster and also Chris Pennington are probably that type of male that doesn't realise that that isn't acceptable. Whether you're there at the same time or not, you don't be rubbing shoulders with, scantily clad teenagers. It's just not the right thing to do. And having said that, also, if you write something underneath their social media, you make sure that it cannot be perceived as something a bit weird. You just don't do it. It's like on my girls, they're all, as I say, they're teens now, and some of the things they put on social media, I just pretend I haven't seen it, Dunks. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't want them to think, Nan's having a go. But, I think it's about boundaries, really. And I don't think that those people have boundaries in their life. I think it's quite simply that. So let's see what you lovely guys have said. What's this? Kissy kissy. Kissy kissy gets me every time. Not as much as sitting tight. Dunks. I might start doing some merch, and I might put seat tight on it, okay? And anything I make from that, you can have it. Okay, because that is brilliant. I'm just sitting tight. Honestly, I laughed till I cried. So what else have you put? So Jay Smith says, I'm good, been a little busy as I plan to retire in 10 years. Oh, nice. I'm already retired. But the problem is, when you've always worked for yourself, well, I haven't always worked for myself, but over the last, 20 years, I've worked for myself. So I've never really retired. I still get the paintbrushes out and do you know what I mean? But anyway, what else? Annette, hey sweetie. He knocks me sick when I hear him with Ali Harris. Like, wow, don't. That video that he did with Ali Harris, when I had the police officers round, I showed the cops that. I said, this is the guy that we're dealing with. And he looked at it, he went, yeah. He's got his number. Did you want to speak, or shall I go through the chat?
Go through the chat, it's fine.
Okay. Yes, as Jay Smith says here, for a granddad to be flirting with teens, he's definitely a nonce. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's true, though. It's disgusting. Stop doing it. Bloody horrible. Right, okay. Well, it's easier to... Oh, okay. I hadn't thought of that. Right. Alison says, where rugs are concerned, it's easier to push those boundaries. Exactly. And I think they have no boundaries. They just... No, you can imagine them. You can imagine them sort of sat, stood on the beach, watching as these young girls, these lovely, innocent young girls, walk past in their skimpy little bikinis because they look really nice. And you got these 60-year-old dudes staring at... No. Just stop it. Stop it. I tell you what, I went to an event yesterday, and now the sun's come out. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is with young girls today. The sun comes out and they strip off, quite literally. I saw so many sights. I was there with my son. I was like, oh my God, look at these girls. They're bloody... Honestly, anyway, we're moving. We must move on to number 3. Right, so question number 3 is, what did Debbie mean by "it's not over yet"? Which she said after the failure of the petition. So what do we think, guys? What do we think that Debbie meant by that? It's not over there. It's not over yet. Does she think something else is going to happen? Does she think she's got something else hidden up her sleeve? I tell you what, guys, don't tell my kids, but Thursday I'm having another tat. Did I show you that one? Sorry, Dunks, I'm off. You see that one? I'm having something added to that on Thursday. Anyway, sorry, Dunks. Rein me in, love. What does she mean by that? It's not over yet.
Usually, in my experience, usually when people say it's not over yet, it means it's pretty damn close to being over, and it's more like a hope and a prayer thrown out there that something might save it. It's not a phrase you usually associate with something that's gone very well, is going very well, is looking really good. So I think this was on her Facebook page. And when I read that, she'd gone through about, she'd gone through all of that. Thank you very much for all those that signed the petition. We've had our meetings in Parliament, and we're waiting on a revised answer from the government. Blah blah blah. It was all a load of blah blah blah. And this one at the end, it's not over yet, made me think, oh well, clearly you think it hasn't gone well. Otherwise, you wouldn't have said that. But then, Jan, I go back to what you just said. Is there something up her sleeve? I started thinking it's not over yet might mean she's going to pull something else, against us or against online communities. What else might she have up her sleeve? Because I'll say this again. Once she's got mainstream media's heart and soul, if you like, she has some very, very high powered backers there. Maybe something else is coming our way. I don't know. But yeah, it's not over yet to me means, the petition isn't going anywhere. And of course, Sluggy is still out there saying, oh, he's working behind the scenes and the government this and no, no, no. This is over. This government's not going to be playing around with this. And Sarah Smith's, I think, has already jumped ship. You don't see her out there saying anything anymore. Shane Yerrill. I mean, 99% of the country haven't heard of him. Shane Yerrill going to go out there saying, let me get things moving? No, I don't think so. I think this is over, but I am a little bit wary that Debbie might have something up her sleeve, but we'll see. We'll see.
I'm thinking maybe the thing she's got up her sleeve is that she's now going to be pushing. She's taking some of our advice, Dunks, and she ought to give us credit for that. Okay? And the advice we gave her right from the very beginning was, why are you not campaigning for other parents who have lost their children, or campaign about the lack of continuity, or even conversation between the Spanish police and the English police, sort of do that. And guess what? I think that's what she's jumping on the bandwagon. So Debbie, maybe send us a few, a little bit of Wonga, because we came up with that idea. But do you know what? I still feel that Joe Public isn't going to accept it from her, because what they'll do is they forget, right? They forget that normal order. I shouldn't say normal. Who's normal? Are you normal, Dunks? I'm not.
I'm not.
Anyway, no, I'm not either. And they think that ordinary people are not aware or unaware that all they have to do is type in Google, who is Debbie Duncan? And then up will pop, Debbie Duncan lost her son, right? His name is Jay Slater. And then they'll carry on. Well, what happened to Jay Slater? And how long before Google tells you exactly who Jay Slater was? I feel that Debbie is never ever going to be taken seriously, because not only because her son was a thug, we all know he was a thug. It doesn't mean that we don't want to see justice served, because he didn't just slip and fall off a mountain, okay? But I think most ordinary people who have any sense of decorum, what else? Honesty, and people who are successful or good people, are not going to listen to somebody who has proven time and time again that she can't be honest about what happened to her son. And for that reason, I don't think Debbie is going to get successful. I don't know. That's just me. What do you reckon, Dunks?
I think she's put herself in a really bad position, honestly. And this is very sad. I think she's made herself toxic. There was an article I was reading about a mother whose son died of, nitrous oxide, what they have in those balloons when they do balloons. And she's out there campaigning for greater awareness and what have you. She's doing the right thing. And I thought to myself, yeah, but if someone like Debbie Duncan comes along, the new improved Debbie Duncan comes along and says, I want to join forces with you and we'll campaign together, because Debbie's made herself toxic with this failed petition, and I think the general perception that this doesn't add up, then that woman and that charity or whatever she's doing on is going to be ruined. So, do you know what I mean? Debbie's done this all the wrong way round. Now she's, in my eyes, made herself very suspect and somewhat toxic, and she's backed the wrong horse. Even if she does a 180 and starts to, go down the route of let me help various others, I don't think many people are going to embrace her. It's past the point now where you can say, that wonderful, honest and truthful and upstanding Debbie Duncan will join me in this charity. I don't think that can happen. And I think this might be the bitter reality for Debbie. I think that's why one of the reasons why she is so bitter about anyone that raises any questions is because she, possibly pushed by the likes of, Sluggy and Chris, she's been pushed into a corner now where I don't think she can come out of it. I don't know what she does from here on in. When she says it's not over yet, I don't know what her next move is. But she seems to, I'm going to say it, she seems to revel somewhat in what she's been doing lately. I know she claims, she had nervous breakdown or something. I can just say her demeanor and interactions with everyone on the couch there looks like she quite, she quite likes what's going on. But now the petition's gone, that's over. I don't understand. I don't see where the next chapter of this book goes for her. But I don't know. We'll see what she means. It's not over yet, but I don't know. I don't know exactly what she means.
It's a bit like, I like to watch a bit of reality TV, not like, the crap ones, but I like to watch like the one with interior designs, and it's called, it doesn't matter, but it's about these interior designers. And every week when one gets booted off, they're always like, oh, well, never mind, you'll still see me. It's not the end of my journey. And it's a bit like, on that famed one, what is it, Britain's Got Talent. When the worst singer on earth gets booed off the stage, and then they're like, but I'll be back. You haven't seen the last of me. And it's like, shut up. You haven't got a clue, man. So, that wasn't a very good example. I'm sorry. But, this is interesting. Dee Dee is popping up on those TikTok shorts. What's she doing? Sorry, thanks. I tell you guys, you didn't know what a giggler Duncan was, did you? Until he decided to do a live stream with me. Did you want to say anything, love? Is there anything you wanted to say? Or shall we move on to the next question? How far in are we? We're moving on. Duncan says he's spoken. So, okay, next question. What prompted the slugster to speak out now about the case? Yeah. What's the urgency? Has it got anything to do with the fact that the petition was an absolute dead squib? Is it squib or squid? Don't know. Anyway, is it because of that and now he's trying to save face? Don't worry about it, guys. Such and such and such. But he is trying to give information out, but he's so inarticulate. It's ridiculous. I can't read. He's written books over the last few days, Dunks. Have you read any of them, love?
I've given it my best shot. I've read it through and tried to figure out what's going on there. And I've prepared a few answers for him in the next few days because he's back into asking a lot of questions. I pointed this out in a video, I think yesterday or the day before, that even he's now questioning his own narrative. He's now putting question marks at the end of everything. He doesn't seem to understand that's what we do. We've got the questions for him, and now his reply is asking himself more questions. No, you're supposed to give the answers. But it is very strange what's going on with him. And these two things don't go together. So for the last, almost 2 years, we've heard him say, well, we don't owe you any answers. It's only the family get the answers. You keep asking, you're not going to get any answers. And then all of a sudden he says, right, I'm going to answer this one about why the friends didn't go up and save Jay. And it's like, oh, hello. So you can give answers. And these two things don't go together. You can't say you don't deserve an answer, not going to give an answer, none of your business. Oh, but now I'm going to give you an answer. So what's going on? Why the 180? Why is it now sluggy 180? I'll give you a few answers. And he also jumped in to try to answer how it was possible for Lucy and Jay to be talking and the phone to, die at 8:51 on that fateful morning, and then the phone to magically come alive again, and for that last text to be sent. He tried to explain that one. So two key questions that we were all asking, hammering away, saying, how can you answer these two things? Why did the friends not go and save Jay? And how the hell do you squeeze out one last text on a phone that died? He decided to answer it. And I'm getting very excited about this because I think it's not Luggy that wanted answers. I'm just thinking that Luggy has blundered into being the spokesperson for everyone because he loves to, go online and tell everyone what's happening here or tell them he doesn't owe them any answers. And I've just got a feeling maybe it is Debbie. Maybe Debbie's in the background saying, well, you've kind of put me in this position. All these people haven't gone away. They've still got these same questions. Why don't you just answer them? And there's Sluggy's attempt to answer it. But he's like that little kid that thinks he's come up with a brilliant excuse for something, like the dog ate my homework. And then everyone just looks at him and goes, what? That's your answer? That's your excuse? Because surely the accident group hear him saying that, Lucy called emergency services 10 times. And on the 6th time, she was told to sit tight. The helicopter's on the way, but the first 5 times the phone was put down on her. Surely even his supporters hear him say that and think, nah, that can't be true. Because if they all do believe, Sluggy's pathetic way of trying to answer this nearly 2 years too late, then they must also think that these kind of answers make sense. But I don't see how I don't know. I don't see how a rational thinking adult could ever listen to this and think that makes sense. And sorry, one last thing about this. As you go into his weak explanation and you ask for, well, how does that make sense? Or, could you answer this additional question? Then it all shuts down again. But, he has tried to answer two key points. Now, I said there's a lot more that we've got to hammer away now at this other police report that Lucy's supposed to have done that no one wants to talk about, and that's got Warren and Debbie's name on it. So we will keep hammering away saying, explain this, explain this. Now, it's up to him. But it might be, my point, Jan, is it might be that I think Debbie is now paying attention to what is said, what we say, and what the commenters are putting out there. I think she or someone is telling her, and she might go to Luggy and say, well, what is it about this second police report? You go answer it. I don't really care if it's his friends or his family or Debbie that's pushing him to do this. Keep going, because we're learning in a funny kind of way. We're learning all kinds of things about how his mind works and how his supporters think. And it is kind of funny. I mean, I know the case itself isn't funny, but the way isn't it? The way he says all this, and and lo and behold, a helicopter was sent out, but they lied to her, and then she knew they lied, and then she found her way to a house up in the mountain. It's like, come on, this is a fairy tale that even a child would be a little bit embarrassed about. It just can't happen.
I know, it's just ridiculous. And this guy could well be a grandfather. Can you imagine him sat there in his rocking chair? Oh, and all the kids will be like, oh, just Just give him a wide berth. Don't know what he's talking about. But the thing is, he tries to talk with such authority. But he just does not have that. And I know it's not his fault he's Welsh and he's got that awful accent. It's just the things that come out. It's garbage. It's utter garbage. And do you know what, Dunks? I don't think he even reads his own words. He can't. And it's obvious that he types in a few things in chat GPT and he gets a few in, and then you can spot the bit when he then takes over the writing. It's like ridiculous. Just stop it. Go and find something to do. You've got boats. Go and do some fishing. Go and be useful in the Welsh waters. Bloody ridiculous. Anyway, let's see. Right, here we go. Oh, I missed that one. Another one from Jay Smith. He's very chatty today. Luggy supporters. He's got 5 with multiple accounts. Yes, it's so obvious. Because what happens is every time he gets a new one, right, I go in to block them and they're already blocked. So I know that that's a soccer account. Yeah, I'm not as dumb as I look, Dunks. You know that. Anyway, right, okay, Tracy Thompson. I've not seen you here before. Welcome. So Tracy says, anytime public money is raised, people have a duty to announce the total of charity football match. Oh, okay, so you're talking about the charity football match. Yeah, have we heard how much was raised? I know Debbie posed for a few nice pictures. She looked a bit worse the wear for the old booze. But, yeah, she had a good time. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, just get out of my face. Anyway. Let's see who else. Right, there. Who have we got here? We've got Vid. Hey, Vid. So Vid says, Jay Smith, Google Mirror. Oh, okay. Cipriano's last 2 paragraphs tell us Jay wasn't there during the first, definitely week plus of him being missing. Yeah, okay, I get what you're trying to say there. So the police have said that he definitely wasn't there the first 2 weeks. Do you know, I remember, I think it was, I was reading in the newspaper, and the cops, oh, was it a video? And the cops were saying, it's really weird that we can't find him. They were really shocked that he couldn't be found because that's their job. What else they got to do? You know, grab a few drunks off the streets. That's their job. So I can't, as much as, you know, some people might like to say, oh, well, the police were incompetent. I think it's more a case of the police did try, but they knew they were fighting a losing battle, and they knew that lad was not down in the ravine. What do you think, Dunks?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I speculate on the incompetency of the Guardia Civil in this matter because it's an obvious explanation. They didn't do this because they're not competent, but there's such a pattern of incompetency that it is just not possible. I mean, they are trained police officers, and I do think that early on, they realized that this is not just a missing persons case. But the truth is, unless you have full cooperation from the witnesses, from the family, from everyone involved, you're not going to get anywhere. And I still think that Debbie gave off this vibe with Mark Williams Thomas that she's not going to be fully cooperative, that she's got nothing to say on any narco background. And obviously, the Guardia Civil in Tenerife are well aware of things happening down on the strip. And you've got to keep in mind, we don't know exactly what the Guardia Civil found out from any conversation with the witnesses or anyone on the strip. They may well have known within the first 24 hours who exactly Lucy is, who exactly Brandon is. And when Debbie spoke to them, and I'm just assuming this, I'm speculating, and Debbie did not come forward with full cooperation, and she might have said something like, I don't want anything, connected with these kids in this case at all. Then I think the Guardia Civil may have said, well, that's it. Then, okay, then it's a missing person case. And that's what we do. We leak for 2 weeks. We do our best, and who knows? Maybe he was lost up there. Maybe it was an accident. I don't think they discounted anything. But if you remember, DTR noticed that when he went up there searching, he just couldn't believe how they're all standing around and talking to the press and having their photos taken, and the dogs are sat down looking around saying, aren't we supposed to be doing something? It looked off to DTR, and it looked off to a lot of people. So, yeah, I do think there's a very, very great chance that it wasn't so much incompetency. I think they knew that they were going to search in that area. You know, his phone pinged up there. It makes sense. But what you said is right, Jan. I do remember a report that said some of the actual police officers that were searching, after like 2 or 3 days, they were already saying, this isn't right. There's no sign of him. There's no indication, no sniff of him around here. This doesn't feel right. And normally, they do get on the track of someone that's, been in that kind of area. So yeah, I think they felt he wasn't there. And then I remember reading, I think it was after the 2 weeks, Cipriano Martin said, we have to start thinking that the boy moved away from here, that he left this area. And I was tearing my hair out saying, no, you've got to start thinking he was never there. It's not just that he was there and he left. When do you start thinking that he was never actually there? But again, I think this is something that the police do. They don't come out and say, what a bunch of idiots we've been. He probably wasn't even here. They say things like, we need to think about other possibilities. Maybe he left this area. So yeah, 100%, 100%. I do not believe the Guardia Civil are that incompetent. I think there are two things going on here. There's probably some kind of corruption. Someone high up is saying, we don't want to find out too much about this. And at ground level, they're like, well, okay, if the family's not fully cooperative, we'll search for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly there, Dunks. I think that's it. That's the issue. And can you imagine how annoying it is for them as well to think, well, what else could we have done? All right, they put the phone down 5 times, but hey, they got there in the end. They sent the helicopters off, and so you imagine if you worked in that police force and you had gone on the information that was given to you, and you did go and search that area. There's so many. When I heard that bit where the officer said, it just seems really weird that we can't find anyone here. Really weird. They're
Hmm.
not stupid. And they probably thought something else has happened here. The parents aren't that interested firstly in not telling us the truth, but also in, actually seeking maybe I'm not saying that they didn't want to find him. Of course they wanted to find him, but the police aren't stupid. They're trained to know when someone's given them a whole pile of BS. And what with all the other characters around there, and nobody was pushing for them to come out with what actually happened before he got to Masca. Nobody did that. Nobody checked the phones. Anyway, I'm just repeating myself over and over again. But you guys in the chat, you're coming out with some great things. So, Rosina, hi, nice to see you, honey. So much time wasted trying to find Jay in the mountain when he wasn't there. Exactly. And I believe that the police were aware of that. I do believe that. Yes, Pam, he didn't many times, even at the funeral, I think. I wonder what changed and why he now believes them. Yeah, I'm not sure who you're talking about there, darling. As Rosina says, there was no proof of life after Papagayos. There wasn't. Okay, Angela has said, not Angela, Alison has said that picture of the figure running was meant to be in the evening, but check the shadow, it was midday sun. Oh, that's interesting. So hey Julie, how are you? So Julie puts, what I can't get out of my head is why would you not want to know it was your son in that coffin? I know. Not normal in my eyes. Do you know something we don't? I could never live with myself. I'm exactly the same. But the problem is, if I say anything on my channel, and I've got a channel and I've got this, great big thing. And so, I do want to ask things, I do want to speak about things, but you then get attacked for doing that. But you know what? I'm made of hard stuff, trust me. So yeah, let's move on. I think, Dunks, to the next question, because we've been going on quite a lot. But some of the things you're saying here is very, very good. Oh, okay. So Red Source has just added to the photograph thing by saying, as I do photography, I can tell you that shadows are a bane, but also a help. That's really interesting. I didn't know anything about that. Did you, Dunks?
No, not at all. I'm not a photography person. In fact, unless it's crystal clear to me and everyone agrees, I don't like going by what a so-called photo will show. But yeah, that is interesting. And we have kind of assumed that this 6 p.m. sighting in Santiago is 6 p.m., but could be any time at all. I just want to go back to what you said about the Guardia Civil and how they searched and all this. Um, I think there are two ways of finding out where someone is. One is finding out what happened to them. So you build up from he starts here and you ask all the witnesses and you end up, oh, so he ended up here. And that is finding out what happened to the person. The other one is just searching for them and hoping you're searching in the right place. And I think what happened here was it was obvious that no one wanted to find out what happened to Jay. So the prime option number one of piecing together, he starts off in Papagayos, he's alive, he's not well, but he's alive. Now then, minute by minute, we find out what happened to him, and we end up finding him where he ends up. And all of this in the Jay Slater case is right there in front of you. Every single person that was with him can say, apparently where he was, what he was doing up until that very last moment. So what happened to Jay was abandoned. And I think this is the problem with Debbie Warren and the rest of them. I don't think they ever said, we really want to find out what happened to Jay. All of them jumped on this bandwagon of, well, if we keep searching up here, because we've been told by these characters that he ended up here, then we'll find him. And in his rant today, Luggy was out there saying, well, I think he's directing at me, but he's directing at every one of us individually. He was like, well, what did you all do when I was searching? What did you all do? You sat back and did nothing. And I'm thinking, you know what? Sometimes in life, to do nothing, but to think and to ask questions is a lot more useful than blundering in and saying, oh, I'm going to do the searching. I'm going to do the searching. I'm going to find him because I know where he is. And then it turns out you don't know where he is. Yeah. So my answer to Sluggy is, I might as well answer this one now, is doing nothing and thinking wisely about the situation is a lot more damn useful than you blundering in there saying you know with your LiDAR map what happened to him when you don't. So all of this, we were doing everything. We were the searchers. We got off our ass. Yeah, you got off your ass and, directed that search in a completely bogus place, in my opinion. I think in the fullness of time, when we find out what actually happened, it will be shown that those that rushed forward said, let's keep searching in this ravine where there's no evidence he ever went, will be the ones that will be looking kind of foolish, I think. And the ones that sat back and said, hang on a second, let's see how this plays out, I think it will be shown that that was the wise thing to do.
Absolutely. And I've just had a thought. Because the police went and hunted and spent all that time and their resources hunting in that place, and quite obviously, if I've heard it, I'm sure other people have heard that they found it so strange that they couldn't find this boy there.
Yeah.
Maybe if they hadn't have wasted that time, they could have possibly done the right thing, which was to look at the phones of the people, to insist that the last people to be with Jay actually stayed on the island. I watch a lot of true crime, trust me, and I have never ever heard of a police authority saying to the last people to see the victim, because Jay Slater was a victim, Oh, don't worry, you go. Yeah, you go home. Yeah, you can't help us with this with this thingy bob. What's it called? Investigation. Yeah, go on. You just fly home. I've never heard such crap in my life. So perhaps if they hadn't done that, if they hadn't gone up to Muscat, all right, maybe spend a day up there speaking to people. Did you see this boy? Check the building. Where was the forensic teams? It's insane. But yeah, perhaps if they hadn't have done that, they could have learnt a bit more by focusing in on the people that were actually with that lad. That's what I think. Do you want to say something, Dunks? Or do you want to move on to the next question?
We can
We
move
can move
on.
on.
Okay. Right, moving on. We've got one more, which is why would police, oh, same as what I was saying. Why did the police not check the phones of the last people to have contact with Jay? I mean, I can't understand, guys. And I'm not a police woman or whatever, but I cannot understand the superiors saying or not saying to the other, constables, whatever they're called over there, well, did you check their phones? No, we didn't because we were too busy flying around Masca because they said he'd gone to Masca. Well, why didn't you check their mobile phones? Why did they not check them? Over to you, Dunks.
Yeah, this is the bit that really does seem like incompetency. I do get early on that you wouldn't doubt the word of the guy's friends. I mean, like I say, 99 times out of 100, if the victim's friends are all saying, this is, what we know and this is what we think happened, you believe them because they're friends. So, early doors, it might have seemed obvious that the friends are the friends, so we don't, need to go too much into their relationship with the victim and all that. But I think for some of us, pretty darn quickly, we were like, no, 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 these friends, like you just said, Jan, we really need to go into everything they're saying to each other, everything. I'm going to bring Debbie back into it. Everything that was being sent back to Lancashire, all the messages. You've got to go through that and quickly. You've got that golden hour, that golden 24 hours to figure out what is going on here. And I don't know if you remember, but when Haley Comet was she was actually talking to Lucy at some point. Lucy said, "Yeah, I got rid of all my messages and that because I was getting trolled so much. I just got rid of them all." It's like, yeah, that's pretty damn convenient now, isn't it? But we should never have been put in this position. It should have been immediate. It should have been every one of you. It's not a summons. It's like you would have thought these people want to cooperate. You would have thought Brad and Brandon would be handing over their phones, saying, you guys go through this and tell us if you see anything that doesn't seem right. But this is the big thing that really bothers me in this case is that everyone that should have been fully cooperative and doing all they possibly could to find out what happened to Jay, not let's find Jay. That's a completely different subject. None of them came forward to cooperate. And this is what really, really bothers me. And it didn't seem to bother anyone else. And it doesn't to this day. Whether it's mainstream media or the coroner or the police, it's just odd that none of them to this day have thought, why are these people not cooperating? And by the way, this limp excuse, well, maybe they're involved in some kind of narco dealing. Yeah, I mean, if the coroner and Mark Williams Thomas are out there saying, well, this is how people behave when they're narco dealing, yeah, but it doesn't explain, for example, why Lucy decided to lie in the GoFundMe statement. What is it? If she's involved in some kind of narco dealing, how is that in any way connected with her saying, Brandon woke me up at 8:30 instead of Jay woke me up at 8:30? Why the lies that are nothing to do with any possible narco dealing? The only sensible answer is they have to lie to cover up what happened to Jay. It's nothing to do with the narco dealing. And let me just say this, Jan. Even if some of these lies are out there because they want to hide what their real job is or what they're up to, in the real world, when your best friend has disappeared and died, you actually don't care. There's a point where you say, you know what? I'm just going to say it. I was dealing or I was using and I was involved in this, and I just want the truth out there. And the fact we've never got to that point tells me that it's not the narco background that explains all this. It is something else happened and it's all being covered up. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah, and there's so many people that are writing such really good points in here, and I think Scar Energy. Does that mean you like Scar? I love Scar. Anyway, so they've said I think it's probably because of the connections, the parents and siblings of the friends in the underworld of Tenerife, and all the corruption that has sipped into the social fabric of the place. 100%. If that's your one and only comment in here on my channel, that is an excellent comment. And I can see Dunk's nodding away there. That's it. There are so many connections. And the thing is, even as lay people, we know how you find out connections is by checking who is on your phone list, who's on your contact list. When was the last time you phoned that person? When did they text you? It's common sense. So that's why it's so frustrating. We've got sweet Angela in the house. Hey Angela, nice to see you. Yeah, where else was I going with that? I've forgotten. But we are sort of going on a bit, and there was something that I wanted to go on, just to move on to quickly. So, Dunks, if there's anything else that you want to say about the questions or about what we've, this bit that we're talking about, then I'll give you the mic now. Is there, or shall we move on?
Yeah,
Yeah,
one
one
more.
more.
Um, just to back up what Sky Energy was saying there, I think this is where the Guardia Civil and the kind of corruption in the background also kicks in, because when there is a scent of all these other connections, Brandon's brothers Dylan and Declan, maybe it's true they do have a stake in Sugar Reef. Well, then all of a sudden you've got some big time bosses in the background saying, hey, we don't want to dig too deep into this. And, it's no big secret that some of the Guardia Civil do, either look the other way or they could well be involved. There's 101 reasons why all of these parties involved don't really want to find out exactly what happened to Jay and who's involved. So it's a vicious circle. You've got the family not really wanting to know that, probably the Guardia Civil not really wanting to know that. And we end up with this cock and bull story about, he wandered off and fell off a mountain. Is everyone happy with that? Oh, you are? Okay. End of story. It's just disgusting. But, seems to me that's the way it happened.
Yeah, as sickening as it sounds, and I think that's the way it is as well. But it doesn't mean that we're not still going to continue to seek justice for Jay, because he deserves it. Everyone deserves it. Everyone deserves the truth. To be out there, and with technology the way it is today, we're able to do that. So, and we're not going to stop. So Julie has put here, hi Julie, a Belgian woman was reported missing last week. Oh, really? Oh, the Spanish police found her sadly deceased in a landfill, so they can do their job some of the time. Oh, that's really sad. That's really sad. So, guys, I want to move on quickly because we've talked forever today, Dunks. You're getting as bad as me. Anyway, I wanted to just talk briefly about this, and there's a reason I want to talk about this. I want to talk about YouTube. Behind the scenes of YouTube, and what is perceived to be a public figure. Now, it says yes. I asked the question. If you are a YouTuber, are you seen as a public figure? So if you have a YouTube channel, are you seen as being a public figure? And the answer to that is yes. Someone with a YouTube channel can be classed as a public figure, particularly in the context of defamation law or privacy, if they have achieved a significant level of recognition or influence. Okay, However, this statement is not automatically granted simply by having a channel. It depends on the extent of their following, their influence, and whether they have voluntarily thrust themselves into the public eye. So, I'm talking about the AG group here. I'm talking about defining who these people are that have constantly not, they say trolled, but I think it's worse than that. It's abuse, it's harassment. And the reason I wanted to check this out and just talk this over with you guys is because, you know, there's some people that troll, okay? It's innocent trolling, it's just to wind people up, okay? Now, what these people do is not trolling. What they do is abuse. It's abusive. But I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I have to see myself, because of this, and you also, Dunks, we have to see ourselves as public figures. Okay, now, because we're public figures, that means that people are allowed to talk about us. Okay, they can talk about us. All right, they can talk about you and me. Okay, but can they talk about our families? I don't think so, because if you're talking about me, that's fair enough. It's like I've always said, come for me, I don't give a toss. Okay, some of the things I say, yeah, I can be a bit blunt. I can, you know, I can take it. I can answer for myself. But I don't come for people's family members. Now, Duncan, I know for a fact, has had his wife's family, his family discussed, mocked, abused, harassed by these people. So, bear with me, guys. Let's just get on to the next one. Don't die on me, computer. Right. So, the key legal definitions are, so you could be like a limited purpose public figure, which is most YouTubers who are well known within a specific niche. Okay, so maybe Dunks, me, Wax, all of us doing the J Slater thing. Yeah, all right. So we're known in this area. Okay. This means they are treated as public figures only regarding matters related to their content, to their channel's content, rather than all aspects of their lives. So that has answered what I've just put out there. Okay, yeah, you can talk about us. All right, I don't have a problem with that. Talk about me. Talk about Dunks, okay, because we are limited purpose public figures. Yeah? Alright, so let's move on again. Right, so then we move on to the privacy rights. So what privacy rights do we have and do you have? Okay, so privacy rights. Being a public figure does not entirely eliminate privacy rights, but it significantly reduces the expectation of privacy in public places or regarding public online actions. So, okay, I could be out locally and somebody happens to watch my channel. If they come up to me and say, hey, are you Jan's Views? I'm going to say, yeah, I am. That's, yeah, whatever. So, I can't then turn around and say, "Oh, don't you dare! You know, you're sort of infringing on my privacy rights." I can't do that because I am basically a public figure when it comes to YouTube. Okay, so verification status, while not a legal definition, being verified on YouTube or other platforms can be considered a marker of public figure status. Are you still with me here, Dunks? Yeah? Okay, so, again, we have to accept that, okay? It's my channel. I put my name on it. I don't put my birth name. I don't put my name that I had growing up, okay? My name on YouTube is Jan's Views. I have never spoken about myself by my real name. Now, Duncan has. Does that mean that it's okay for people to come after him? It's okay for people to dig into his past and to blast it all on their platform. But bear in mind, they're also public figures. So does that mean we can do the same to them? Does that mean that we can actually put up pictures that they already have put up, right, about them? Maybe they're standing there with their son, right? But because they're public figures, okay, we can do that. We're at liberty to do that. Can you see where I'm going, Dunks?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and the last one is about malice. And malice comes up when you're talking about doxing, because one of the things about doxing is you can dox somebody, or if you are doxed and you go to court because you've been doxed, you have to prove that your doxing came from a place of malice. Okay? We can do that. Both myself, Duncan, I'm sure Wax as well, can prove that these people that have not only targeted us, which as public figures we should expect, okay, they've also targeted our family. That is where it's illegal, okay? That is where it's unacceptable. All right, so let's read what it says here. The clarification of it was actual malice standard legally. If a YouTuber is deemed a public figure, they face a higher burden of proof in defamation lawsuits, such as actual malice. They must prove that a false statement was made with knowledge of its falsity or reckless disregard for the truth. I think we can do that. I think I can do that. I think I can prove that one person in particular puts out all my family's information purely for malice. He's not putting it out there to say, look how successful Jan's daughter is. Look what she's done with her life. Look how she's coped with having her first child being disabled, badly disabled. Her life is around her disability. So he's not putting it out there saying, oh, well done to Jan's daughter. What he's doing is putting out all her information, which I have never, ever addressed on my channel. Okay, I don't talk about my family. I don't tell you my family's names, okay, for that reason. All right? So, but this person, and I'm not going to tell you who it is, you know who it is, Dunks knows who it is, thinks that it's okay to blast all my family's history on his channel. So it makes me think, he's obviously a YouTuber, isn't he? So what are his privacy, and what are his privacy rights? Does he have privacy? Does he? Have I spoken about him as a person, other than the fact that he's like a nasty piece of work? No, I haven't. I never, ever addressed who he is, or even where he lives, really. Because you know what? I couldn't give a monkey's. Because people like him have no place in my life. They have no place whatsoever. I have a full, happy life. And I love doing YouTube, and I've always done it. And yeah, and I'm going to continue to do it. But when somebody oversteps that mark, sometimes you have to go the legal route. Because it's not just a little bit of trolling. But, I need to speak to my daughter. But then I think, does she really need to know about this piece of shite who's giving all her business? Because the thing is, her business is out there. Okay? Because she's done things. She's done things on the TV. She's done things on the stage. She's been a model. She's been a dancer and a choreographer. She's been on certain things, okay? But the issue is, it's not from my channel. So he has completely wiped out the privacy rights that I have on my channel. So what do I do about it, guys? What do I do about it? Do I start digging into his family? Do I start, talking about his daughter? Do I start digging into Schmeliot's family? Start naming her sons and what they're doing? Do I do that? I don't know. To be honest, I'm not that kind of person. I like just go over there, do what you need to do. I'm not going to stoop to your level, but there are times when you think, okay, enough's enough. I will speak to my daughter, and if she wants to take it legally, then we'll go down that route. But, yeah, sorry that was a bit long. I didn't warn you about that, Dunks. Have you got anything to say about that? Or, yeah, I just see what the people are saying. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I can't stoop to that level. I've been quite blessed, and I am blessed. I know I've been blessed, and I think, okay, is this all coming from jealousy? Is it? Is that where it's coming from? Because they know that I have a wonderful family. I have a wonderful life. I have people around me that love me and that I can love with all my heart. So, do they have that? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, you're right, Annette. I do. I will keep laughing, babes, but I just wanted to, just finish it on this tonight because, yeah, it's yeah, just shut up. Just never come to London, all right? Okay, Dunks, I'm passing on to you. And if you want to finish by saying ta-da to everyone, then that's fine. But I'm sorry I went off a bit there, Dunks, but sometimes you need to say something. So I'll let you have your word.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of what we have seen over the months is a lot of frustration from the people that want to, if they can, cause trouble in our lives, ruin our lives, expose us for something or other. And the frustration has kicked in because I made it be known very, very early on that I'm up, absolutely up for this kind of, fight, if you want to call it that, this kind of ding dong. It doesn't bother me at all. But I did let the other side know. I said, I think I've calculated this very well in the sense that I know what's in my life and I know people around me and I know they're pretty darn strong. So I from day one, I didn't know it was going to go down this route. I had a feeling that there'd be some really nasty stuff happening as these two sides, went their own way. So I knew this was going to happen. But I also knew that there was very, very limited damage that could be thrown out there. It just wasn't going to, alter my approach at all. And I think the frustration kicked in when that dawned on the accident group that you can send as many, texts and threats and what you have to the people that know me and around me. But it won't change anything. And I think when that started to hit home, it was pure frustration, because I mean, I might be wrong, but I think these people live in a world where a certain amount of bullying, intimidation, shock, here's a picture of your sister or something, and now I'm going to call her and I'm going to say this. And the phone calls actually happen, correct me if I'm wrong here. But I don't think anyone in our group has ever got on the phone and called Debbie, called Luggy, called any of them, Oh, it certainly happened the other way round. DJ Ravers got called. I think Stargate got called. My elderly relative got called. Oh, yeah, they've been on the phone. But I don't think we've done it the other way round. Now, I'm reading the comments here. Don't stoop to their level. Okay, don't stoop to their level. But I find it interesting that the likes of Kaz Alice are out there cheering that phone call that Luggy made to DJ Ravers, and it is harassing. If no one invited you to call and you're nothing to them, you don't want that call, and they call and they, start to put you on the spot with all this, that, and the other. That is harassment. That's a phone call that DJ Ravers never wanted, and Luggy knew that. So when that happens, and Kaz Alice is out there cheering, she loves that. Yeah, she's out there saying, "Oh, that put DJ Ravers on the spot, didn't it?" Okay. Kaz Alice, I happen to know who your sister is. I happen to know her phone number. Are you okay if I start calling that? And by the way, Kaz Alice, I'm not in your home country. I don't think a whole lot of Irish police are going to be that bothered that maybe, on a whim, I called your sister. I'm just saying, I agree with don't stoop to that level. But I'm just saying, Jan, if at any time I'm tempted to, it's only because they did that first, and it's totally deserved. Now, you're right, Jan, two can play at this game, and they've gone a lot further than we have. One of the reasons I haven't really taken up the battle is I'm more interested in looking at the Jay Slater case. But if it really came down to a doxing versus doxing session, I'm also up for that game. But we haven't gone down that road because we're busy doing other things. But I tell you what, Jan, if I had a week where I thought, let's do something else, I would be tempted to stoop. I would. But hey, you know what? I'll go with you on this one, Jan. Let's try to keep the moral high ground. Let's look into the legal route. But I'm just saying, if Peter Pennington's phrase "the gloves are off" is going to hold here, yeah, my gloves are off. So I'm happy to go either way. But yeah, we've definitely been holding back compared to the other side. But if it, if that's how it ends up, then so be it. I don't mind.
Yeah, and trust me, I'm not one to be intimidated. Trust me. Not with the upbringing I've had. It's very rare for me to speak to somebody that knew me as a child because I was brought up in care, and as I haven't managed to keep in touch with other kids. But recently, I did speak to someone, and I said, "So what was I like? What was I like as a kid?" And we're going to it like when I was about, I don't know, early teens. And she was like, "Oh my God, Jan. Oh my God. You were like a mad thing." Listen, I had a lot of trauma growing up, all right? So trust me, Dunks, I do have it in me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I want to do the right thing, and I will do the right thing. But as I always say, and it's an awful saying, but there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we don't have to get down in the mud with them. I don't want to sink to their level. But the whole point of going on about going through. Well, what is a public figure? And are they all right? If we went to court, would they have a point in saying, well, they're public figures, and we were only saying this about them? Well, then the same thing. They're also public figures. So maybe, yeah. But as you say, Dunks, this channel isn't about them. I don't want it to be about them. And I said very early on, like when we did these live streams, I don't want it to be all about them because I know it's distraction. And I don't want that. I want us all to focus on this lad who's in the corner here. We need to focus on him, not on all the nasties that surround him. Okay? So, yeah. Sorry we had to get a bit serious at the end there. But, yeah. So, do you want to say goodbye, Dunks?
Yeah, we have gone on a long time tonight. This is probably our lengthiest live ever, but there was a lot to get through, and I'm sure there will be next week. Big thanks to everyone, like I said at the beginning, for sticking with the program and the bandwagon. We roll on. Hopefully my channel will stay okay. Hopefully your channel will stay okay, Jan. We persist. But yeah, big thanks to everyone for joining us tonight and for all the support. Things are moving in our direction. There's a lot more coming up that I'm looking into. See you next week, I hope. Yeah?
Yeah, thanks, Dunks. Thanks for coming along and chatting. We could talk for England, couldn't we? Even though you're not in England. Anyway, you have a fabulous week, you and the missus, and I'll see you next week. You up for next Sunday, Dunks? Lovely.
Definitely.
All right then, sweetie. I'll see you then. Thanks very much for joining me. And a huge, massive thank you to all of you in the chat, to my mods. You're wonderful. I don't know if we have people come in that you need to boot out, but it doesn't really matter. I want to thank you all for being the best community as well. You know, I seriously, I want to thank you. And thank you for adding and joining in and interacting with us as a community, because we will find the truth, okay? I promise you, we will get to the truth of what happened to this young lad. So you take care of yourselves. You have a fabulous weekend. Not weekend. Weekend's gone. It's nearly Monday. You have a fabulous week ahead. Look after yourselves. Look after your loved ones. But above all, you just take care of yourselves, because trust me, it's a rotten old world. So until the next one, bye bye for now.